Vinnland Uber Alice by Jack Flake and Rob Harper. Part 2.
I make my way to the front door. I am dressed in my dark gray uniform, boots polished, my military-issue backpack slung over my shoulder. I pause momentarily at the Gustav family crest hanging on the wall. Though the words written upon it are in Vinnlandic, I read it in English. Science above superstition, justice greater than law. I run my fingers along the bottom of the frame, as I always did, as I head towards the door. My name is Carl Gustav, and I run the Vinnlandic Home Guard. Passing by my desk, I pause again. First thing in the morning, before my morning run, there had been an email message sent to Von Nacht. That was my code name as a member of the 12. For a moment, I think about opening the mail. Mostly, the messages were requests for votes on Vinnlandic legislature or trivial news bulletins. Neither interested me much. There was much to do today. The message could wait. Upon reaching the door, I packed the pistols on my thigh holsters. Left, right, left. This is the last thing I did before leaving my quarters. It was habitual, much like most things in my life, brought about by both discipline and preparedness. With that, I opened the front door and stride outside. The housing for Vinnlandic military was not luxurious by any stretch of the imagination. Even the privileges, accorded to me by rank, left me in quarters that would be described as utilitarian. Not that this bothered me much. With a deep breath of cold, fresh air, I continued to my vehicle. Tossing my backpack on the passenger seat, I eagerly climbed in behind the wheel. I am far too early for the induction ceremony, but that suited me just fine. There was business to attend to before then. Soon, I was navigating my truck down the main road of the base, out through the front gates and into the countryside. This truck was my personal vehicle, a beautiful American-made Chevy, far superior to the usual fare of motor vehicle found in Vinnland. This was my one perk that I allowed myself. I enjoyed driving it, how it felt, how it maneuvered, and the way it handled the adverse driving conditions. On the passenger seat, beside my backpack, was a small box. I knew what was inside and was tempted for a moment to open it. It contained Cuban cigars. How long had it been since I had had one of those? Instead, I reached into the glove box and removed one of a dozen cigar tubes within. These were far inferior Dominican cigars that had made it past the embargo, a luxury that few in this country could afford. Even so, I tossed the tube back in and closed the glove box. Luxury or not, they certainly weren't Cuban. This was turning out to be a most enjoyable drive for me. First, I drove up past the rail yard, behind the Natural History Museum. Heading further north, towards the outskirts of the rural town of Grabda, I had arrived at my destination. I pulled my truck off to the side of the country road and into a heavily wooded area. I am a little early for the meeting, 15 minutes early by my clock. I decide to make good use of the extra time, and I reach into my backpack to remove a file, the plain manila envelope labeled Project Paranoid Penguin. The folder contained a troublesome case, one that I had thumbed through a few times over the last 2 nights. Maybe another look through the file would help me find a solution. Project Paranoid Penguin had piqued my interest. The new wrinkle in the project was that one of the agents assigned to the case had failed to file his report. The report was 4 weeks late. To add to that, the report before the last was small, appeared rushed, and was incomplete. Normally this would mean that the mission and or the agent had been compromised. Normally immediate termination of both would follow. But this case was different, in the fact that the agent had not only volunteered for the assignment, but was particularly responsible for founding the project. Also, the 2 other agents on the project had done fine work to date. It would be a waste of their talents to scrub the mission just yet. After pondering a while, I snapped the folder shut. I'm giving you more rope, Agent Inky, enough to hang yourself in a spectacular fashion. The signal from the woods had finally appeared. 2 quick flashes from a mirror from within the trees. I looked around, doing my part to make sure the road was clear, then flashed my headlights in return. Wally emerged from the thick brush and jogged down the incline towards the road. In his hands was a large cardboard box. If Wally was reliable, which he has always been, that box contained bottles of Russian vodka. This would have been smuggled into Vinnland, over the mountains, and past the United Nations forces that were enforcing the embargo. They would have been moved past the Vinnlandic security forces that patrolled the area, not by Wally himself, of course, but smuggled nonetheless.
Good morning, cowboy.
Wally said this with a smile, his thick Polish accent barely wrapped around the words. Good morning, Wally. I see you found what it is we were looking for. An envelope of cash quickly emerged from within my jacket.
Yes, cowboy. 8 bottles of stolen iron for you.
Wally's young but weathered face was almost consumed by his infectious grin. Very good, Wally. Put the box in the back of the truck, would you? Wally did so dutifully. Here, this is for you. I moved the envelope towards Wally as he approached the cab.
That's cool, cowboy.
I had asked once why Wally called me cowboy. It was something that Wally had started when we first began doing business. At the time, names were a security issue, and code names needed to be improvised.
Because of your 2 pistols.
Wally had adopted a wide stance in drawing imaginary pistols from hip holsters.
John Wayne. Westerns. Josie Wales. Cowboys.
He jerked the imaginary 6-shooters from in front of him and started firing a number of rounds. Years later, when trust made the code name unnecessary, Wally never dropped the nickname. Considering the regulation and formality of my military life, I found this small taste of informality a refreshing change. Enjoy your morning, Wally. I'll be in touch again. As quickly as the exchange had started, it was over. Wally slipped back into the forest from where he had come, and I am once again on the road. A quick glance at the clock tells me that there is plenty of time before the induction ceremony.
To be continued.
Hey. Hey, you.
You talking to me?
Hey, look what I got here.
It's a fine trench coat. What's under there?
Look at these. Fresh new podcasts. First time's free.
Very delightful. I'm impressed.
Are you talking about podcasts or my balls? Because I'm not wearing anything under this. Yeah, I got this new podcast called Vinnland Old Time Radio. You want to try it out?
Calling it new, but it's actually 3 years old, so really it's not new.
Are you calling it quality my my goods?
I'm questioning your marketing techniques, that's all. I think there's a truth in advertising issue here. Otherwise,
Do you want to try it out or not?
Otherwise, it's a fine. Yeah, I'll take 2. I'll take one of those Captain Courage's and all those Phoenix Risings.
VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com. That's where you find it. And get out of my face. You a cop?
Yes, and so you're telling me that you're selling something I can find for free, just littering the internet?
My plan is not sound. Get that dog away from me. Get him away from me. Ah!
The dog of fiscal irresponsibility has struck again.
VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com. Let this be a lesson to you. Say no to podcasts. Say yes to podcasts. I don't know. Do something. Jesus. Get on my face.
What are you listening to this nonsense for? Two drunk assholes just talking.